Good day, peeps. Good day, peeps. So today is a big day for me. Putting into practice an idea that I've had for years. I've always wanted to basically go to my spinal hospital and just show the world about what it's about, what it's gave back to its community. People that know my story know that I've been there for like 7 months. And within those 7 months of rehabilitation, they were amazing. They done a lot of work to show me personally that life isn't as bad as it is when you become paralyzed or have a spinal injury and you're wheelchair bound. And they just teach you so many things, life skills, confidence, everything just to take care of yourself, whether it's hygiene, cooking, driving. So today I'm just gonna go with my cameraman and we're gonna get insight to what the spinal hospital really does, what it really shows. And for me, I'm just gassed, man. I'm just gassed. A lot of people always ask me questions. People are always intrigued. People who more time see me out or see me on social media, but they don't know like my journey. They don't know what it took for me to get to where I've got to. So even today, man, like me driving my car, I drive with hand controls. Not a lot of people know that. I got asked a question the other day, like, oh, I didn't know he drives. And my cousin said to the person, like, yeah, man, he does a lot of things, man. So I use for myself hand controls. It's a push-pull mechanism. So I pull to accelerate and I push to brake. My car's automatic, so obviously, as anyone who loves automatic cars, you just drop it into drive and then it just selects the gears itself. But yeah, my spinal hospital, man, they showed me how to practice and drive and transfer and these things from early. They just showed me that independence was achievable. Where you're sitting there thinking, my life, where's it gonna go? How do I fit in? How's society gonna deem me? They just showed me there was a place for us all to be out here. So, as I said today, I'm just gassed. We're going down there, we're on the road trip. We're on the way to places. It's in a place called Oswestry, which is on the borderline of Wales. And it's just an amazing place, peeps. And I'm looking to give you an insight to that world.
Yo, Dre.
This way goes to Wreaking. There's a couple of outpatients room here, but this is where the journey begins through this door. Up here is Gladstone, but we'll give you a kind of walkthrough. If you follow me, this is when I first had my accident, and I got transferred here from City Hospital. This is the first ward that they put you on, where this is where they basically scroll you back from all the morphine, all the paracetamols, all the kind of drugs that you're on, just to kind of gauge where basically your pain threshold is, and kind of like your rehabilitation, and basically just to kind of see what you can handle and not handle. So this was the done out cafeteria, bro, with 2 rooms, but they got a snooker table now. It's all popping off, isn't it? They've got all these here, and I think there's a couple around there, private bays, and these are like open bays over here. So when I first came to the Spinal Hospital from City, this basically ward's called Wreaking, and this is basically, as I said to you, when you're basically just mash up. When I came here, they put me on like a rotative, it's like a bed that just rotates different ways, so it takes the pressure off my back and my spinal injury, because obviously it was swollen. So this was my bay when I first come up here. Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright, you know.
Nice to see you.
I'm still here kicking.
Aww.
Yeah, I got glass. There was no glass here in my days, but I was here. This is my bay where I was for probably about 2 months. 2 months here for a while, man. I'm sure this nurse was here when I was here. Huh? Yeah, she remembers. Yeah, so this is where I was here for a while. But yeah, as I was saying, this ward was like one-to-one acute care. Like, I remember when I first came here and I got taken off my medication from City Road. I remember I woke up one night screaming, and I was calling the nurse, and I was like, nurse, there's something wrong. And she's like, what's wrong, Fidel? And I was like, nah, man, like it feels like my leg is ripping out of my bone is ripping out of my leg. And she's like, nah, you're all right, man. I said, nah, man, I can't take this pain. But at the time, I never knew about phantom pains and kind of losing a limb. And hello, okay, yeah, I never knew about phantom pains and what it takes when you lose a limb. So I had to kind of get my mind around that, because those were some deep nights where I felt like, yo, my body's just failing me. When you start to get a bit better and start to kind of come around and come off the drugs and understand where you are and how your body's functioning, you basically go to the next phase, which is a ward called Gladstone Ward, which is through here. So. So this would be the sneaky kitchen where I make my pot noodles. This house survived up here on some pot noodles and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But this is where you come with, but you're only allowed to come here when you can, like, you got the skills, because you know what I'm saying? You got to balance the hot water and the pot noodles. So anyway, this ward is Gladstone Ward. So this ward here, I'm gonna pull this down. So this ward here is the beginning of rehabilitation. So each of these bays is a stage. So when you start here, as I said, you come from Breakin, which is acute, and you start here and you start to work your way around towards the end. So for quite a few months, I kind of stayed around here because of my arm, when I had the plate in my arm from an accident where it shattered my radius bone, I couldn't really function as fast as other people. So this is basically Gladstone Ward. This is the start to the end. So on this ward here, basically you start to learn the intricate stuff of general life skills. So on this ward, you'll get taught how to basically catheterize, how bowel management. It's not really nice, but at the same time, it's skills we've got to learn to gather and gain some type of independence. So let's carry on around here. This is the main desk where the nurses are from day and night. My bed was one of the closest one to the window, so I was here for like 2-3 months. It's a bit mad. Like, instead of getting into a lot of for someone that hasn't been in hospital, I think this is the stages where you start to kind of bond with like-minded people, because, as I said, everyone's now on the same path of trying to figure out how deep their injury is, trying to figure out how we're going to go forward. So I feel like I'd say, for me, this is the day where I started to make friends with other patients. Come on. In here, this is just, I think it's from Bay A to, I think it's F or G down there, and each bay has got 4 beds. So you do the maths. A lot of people in these bays here, they're still in bed, so they're still very reliant on the nurses taking them out to bed. As we get round to this ward bay here, this was my, well, spent again my other couple months here. This is where I told you about Kate. This is where she's gonna beast me. Yeah. If you notice when we're here, you're gonna start to see more patients in a chair. You know what I'm saying to you? Because now, as I was explaining to you, you start to become more self-reliant. So yeah, so let's proceed on here. So, because I wouldn't really interview anyone, I wouldn't really want to speak to people here because they're probably still on like their painkillers or your terms, or they're in bed, so it's a bit more sensitive around this part. But here, people are starting to understand their situation. So on this ward, there's different time limits. So depending on the level of your injury, so a quadriplegic may be completely different from a paraplegic. A paraplegic would be different from a tetraplegic. Incomplete spinal patient would be different from a complete spinal patient. Do you understand what I'm saying? So as I said, in my case, for me, I was probably on this ward for about 4.5 months, about 5 months, 4.5 months, because obviously, as I said, my arm was in a sling, so I couldn't do what probably some other patients would do, like transferring and lifting, because I couldn't physically do it. So I would be here longer, so I had to wait. So when I left City Road and came here, they hadn't fixed my hand properly, so Dr. Ford here had to basically re-break my hand, basically take bone from my hip, fuse it to my hand and plate it. So then I had to wait for that to basically bond, for base to heal. So it was a lot of time. But as I said, different patients. So I know patients that came and was only here for 4 months, if you know what I'm saying. But as I said, it just depends on how their injury is. Mine was based also with my bullet. So where my back was, there was swelling. So I had to also wait for the swelling to go down, so the pressure would really relieve, so we could assess certain things, you know? So let's carry on. We're coming to the second, I would call it the second half of Gladstone. Second half of Gladstone Ward, where you've got a few people that are still a bit bad, but as I said, going from Bay E onwards, you're gonna start to more see wheelchairs and people more up, or people probably just, well, I used to just kind of come and just chill, do a wheelie backwards, have them pump on my bed, wheelie back, lay on the bed and just go to sleep like that in my chair. I can't do it nowadays though. My bed's a bit different sizes, you know what I'm saying? You're going to start to see more wheelchairs down there. And it's more, I feel like it's that down this side is more one-to-one time with your physios. So by you've hit Bay E, you should technically be up. You should technically be up, technically be in your chair. You might not, like everyone, probably be going to physio on your own, but you're still at the stages where, because what you got to understand is when you're on a bed for so long, one of the biggest things is getting up. So I can remember like when I came out of getting set up, a lot of people be sick because of how long you've been lying on your back. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So when you finally sit in your chair, you'll start to get flushes, you know what I'm saying? You'll start to get headaches. Some people are sick, some people are not. Some people can't stay up for long. They have to go and lie back down, probably try again tomorrow. Do you know what I'm saying to you? It's a gradual thing. So yeah, around there is, and the second half of here, from, I wouldn't say Bay D, but Bay E, that is when it's time to get your ass into gear. You know what I'm saying to you? You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? Come. How you doing, brother?
I'm alright, you?
How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing alright, I think.
So,
Plodding on as you do, you know what I mean?
well, I cruised past you earlier on.
Yeah,
we meet again. Mind if we have a little talk?
I had a little job to do around the house. So I went up a bit of a ladder, don't you? As you do. And you probably got 4 or 5 steps up the ladder. Boom, blacked out. Totally blacked out. So I was on the floor then, you know what I mean? And when I was on the floor, the delivery driver come who dropping a parcel off, saw me there on the floor. Because then, you know what I mean, I was totally out of it. Knocked on the door to the wife. And then, yeah, wife come out next minute, air ambulance dropped and everything else. 2 ambulances turned up, took me away, took me up the hospital. And then I had the surgery done then, you know what I mean? So back, you know, broke my back, you know what I mean? And had a bit of surgery on my head as well, yeah. So.
Where you from?
I'm from Stoke-on-Trent.
Love Stoke. Used to go to a nice little nightclub called The Place up there.
In the Place, that was sound. I've been there. You'd be in the basement.
Yeah, I was in there. Finding all the girls.
Yeah, loads of girls going there in Stoke, in the pottery centre and everything else. Opposite John Lewis.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So, how long you been here?
I've been here now about, with being in North Staffs as well, I've been here over about 20 weeks now. Yeah, but I caught COVID while I was in here.
Okay.
So that put me behind, you know what I mean? And I had another incident that put me behind a bit, so I'm just setting off now with the physio and everything else.
Well, 1 bay away from home?
That's it, 1 bay away from home, that's it.
Bay,
I've been in eBay, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you didn't sell me in eBay, you know what I mean? I didn't get sold.
I hear that. I hear that, brother. I hear that. So, your accident broke your back.
So
basically, you're not complete, you're incomplete.
Incomplete, that's it.
So what are you?
I've had feelings in my toes and stuff.
That's good.
And I can feel down my leg with my arms and everything.
That's good.
What it was, it didn't damage me spinal cord, but I got a pinch.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time to relieve the pinch, to relieve itself.
The swelling
and the swelling round it and round the bone and everything.
So what are you at the minute? What are your classed as at the minute?
It's still paraplegic at the moment.
Still paraplegic. What height?
It's a T10.
T10, 2 from me. I'm a T12.
Yeah. So how I've been fused together is from T12 to T8.
Oh, so you got metal?
I've got metal in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got a bit of a cage in there. Yeah, with screws in there.
But how are you feeling in yourself?
Alright, sound as a pound.
How's the old ticker?
This is brilliant. Absolutely
positive.
Brilliant. Positive. I'm 100% positive.
That's what
I've had no dip whatsoever.
That's good. That's
you know what I mean? So I'm doing what they give me is what I do. You know what I mean? Yeah, through the physio and everything else.
Okay.
I just get on with it. You know what I mean? Fitting in one of these chairs.
No, that's good.
It's got
well,
I don't fit in it at the moment.
These are the rascal chairs. When you get out of here,
when I go out of
here,
it'll be something decent.
Yeah,
you know
something
what I mean?
faster. So, would you say being here
helped me?
As it opens your mind.
It does open your mind. It's totally different world. Within the first 2 weeks of being here, how positive I was and what I could push for. And going through the process meeting, you know what I mean? Progress meeting, should I say? Oh, brilliant. He showed me all my X-rays and everything.
Yeah, the
The
progress.
doctor, the process, yeah, brilliant. But then I come to a stop with COVID and everything else. So I've only just achieved my goals meeting.
Yeah, your goals meeting.
Last week. So it's just a matter of going through my goals now. And work through them and get through them. I've been home. For a day release.
You had some day releases, yeah?
That was a 1 day release, just on Tuesday, just gone.
Okay.
And
how's it at home?
Sound. Yeah, it was alright, yeah. But it's strange just being in a chair and which entrances you go into and now you go into your kitchen and everything else.
Even the height?
Well, it's the height as well, the ceilings and everything else. And I was okay around the kitchen, around the worktops and everything, because I'd done it here before, because they've got their own kitchen here as well.
You've been in the OT flat?
To it. Sorry?
You've been in the flat?
Yeah. Clever stuff, clever stuff. You've got to go to the flat and video in the flat.
Yeah, I experienced the flat.
That's it,
I was a bit cheeky when I was young, so.
That's it, that's what it's all about. How long have you been in chair?
I've been in chair 20 years now.
20 years, for me,
yeah.
Well, you're looking well for it, anyway.
I work out a lot,
That's what I want to do, see.
I work out every
I'm building no guns up again, you know what I mean?
That's it. Show you these bad boys.
That's all you need, bad boys.
Yeah, that's all you need is these. I'm an active T12, so I don't. If I'm in the gym, I'll transfer onto a bench.
That's what I'm doing at the moment.
I don't play around with that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's what I'm doing at the moment, transferring. It's just the sheer weight, though. You know what I mean? You've got to learn to build up.
Well, you gotta be doing it.
I'm doing it now. Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, you gotta do it here, but it'll get easier because obviously, what happens is you won't subconsciously. You're lifting your body weight anyway.
Oh, well, that's what it is.
So as time goes on, you just.
Even in the gym, I'm lifting my own body weight anyway. On pull downs. So I'm lifting my own body weight anyway.
That's good, man.
Yeah. Well, I've got bloody legs like bloody, you know what I mean?
My ears used to be kind of.
Yeah, that's it.
After obviously 20 years later, they're getting a bit thin. But
then, but at least you know what I mean. You've still got them anyway. That's amazing.
You know what? I always say this to people. Yeah. I feel that
old school, so I've got 12 points.
If I was the way I was while I was an amputee, I think it would affect me differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
The visual just make me be like,
yeah, it's harder then, isn't it?
You know what I mean? So that's why I try and stay on my skin.
That's it, you've got to keep your eye on your skin and everything,
You know what I mean? I don't want to lose these bad boys.
That's what happened when I come from North Staff, you know what I mean? I had to have bed rest because of sores.
Oh yeah, pressure sores.
Pressure sores, because I was lying on my back all the time. I wasn't being turned. As soon as I come here, I was turned.
See, touch wood, for me, I never really had that. So I was in like City Road, Birmingham for a month. And then I came here for 6 months. But obviously, you know what it is? My factor was when they showed me the pressure sore video.
That's
never left
sinks
my head.
into your head, doesn't it?
Never left my
head. Of course it does,
Never. So.
And another thing what surprised me was I was lying on the bed. He said to me, "Right, you're going down the gym." I said, "What?" He says, "You're going down the gym. Take you down the gym on the bed." You know what I mean? And you're working yourself out on the bed, pulling all your arms and everything on the bed itself. And I was treated for that for about 4 weeks. You know what I mean? While I've been on the bed. And then
did you like the bed showers?
Yeah.
Bed showers. Love the bed showers.
That's it, bed showers. But now I'm on the chair, you know what I mean, where I can go for a shower and everything else. And that relieves you, know what I mean? Now you know yourself clean after 18 weeks, you know what I mean?
That's good,
being
man.
in bed.
That's good.
Yeah, but I tell you something, it is sound. You just got to keep your mindset, your brain set and everything else.
I feel like myself, what I say to people all the time, like, wheelchair you can wing it. The only thing that you got to get your head around is bowel management.
Definitely bowel management,
Not even really bladder, it's more bowel.
Yeah, it's all
bowel's like, as a man, you're thinking, ooh, this is a bit like, you come rolling me on my side and pushing you.
That's it.
That's not really for me.
It's not me neither. But you get used to it.
You have to get used to it. Because it's health, you have to manage yourself.
Yeah, and the only other thing when I went on my visit at home, I'd like, you know what I mean, to get upstairs because I'm in a house as such. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how
I don't want the bed downstairs. You know what I mean? I want to be upstairs. So that's what I'm looking into at the moment with having the home visits and everything else.
Getting a nice bungalow. bungalow or something.
That's it. Well, I could get a nice bungalow if I wanted, but like,
Oh, vertical lift.
I don't mind a lift, just a vertical lift straight into the bedroom.
Yeah.
Because above my garage, I've got a big bedroom this size, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I've got a wet room as well attached to it.
Okay.
So it's only a matter of, you know what I mean, getting a vertical lift.
Yeah. Mine was a bit different. Like when I went had my accident, I went back home to with my mum,
Yeah.
my dad, and where on my house is wasn't set like that. So I had to have a bed in the back room, and then that's what got me back on gym because I couldn't shower daily. I'd get up, wash on the commode, and then so I signed up to a gym.
That's it. Sign up to do a gym and you go straight in there,
shower, come home,
brilliant.
and then on the weekends I'll be like to my brothers and my mum, like, I need a bath, so they'll bring me upstairs and then they'll just
just the job, brilliant.
But I like to see the positiveness, you know.
Oh, I'm really positive.
I like that.
One it is with patients, like Alan in Seabay, you know what I mean? These Alan and Albert, I talk to them every day to pick them up again, you know what I mean? And one went in intensive care while he was in because of COVID, and he's come back out again now, and I've been picking him up ever since, you know what I mean? Just bringing him round again.
I think, you know, when, as I said, when you're here for a period of time, it's like kind of develop an outside family.
You
That's
do.
the same.
You do.
So mine, I used to speak to a woman, and the woman, she had a car crash, and she was paralysed from her neck, and her husband used to come every day and stay in the cottages, look after her. And like I was explaining to the guys earlier on that there was an older guy that kind of told me to go around the ward, and she was the worst on my ward. And then I used to get up every day, push myself to the League of Friends, not how it is not how it is now. It used to be a little side shop at the side, up the hill, and get the paper, come back and just sit and read to her.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what picks them up all the time, just a bit of a talk to them and everything else. Even the ladies around the corner, I just pop my head in, how you doing, and then I'll move on to the next one, just to pick people up, you know what I mean, and that's what I'm about.
Well, I'm going to give you a big
yes,
because I like it. It's rarity that you have someone with your spirit like yours.
No, I'm full of spirit, I am, full
What's
of
your name?
Yeah, my name's Ross,
Ross?
Yeah.
My name's Fidel Ross.
Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, man.
Yeah, no bother.
And you know what?
And I'm glad you like the place up Burnley, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. That was my spot before I had an accident, you know. As a young
it was the place.
It was the place. So I come here when I was 21.
Yeah.
And I was a bit bad boy when I was young. So I got shot 7 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I had so when I come here, I still got 2 bullets inside me.
Really?
One's in my spine, one's like behind my heart. Shattered radius bone. Didn't know what was happening. Knew I had an accident, obviously.
Yeah.
I had what I had, but I didn't know the depth of it.
Okay. Yeah.
So came here, Wreaking, Gladstone, a bit crazy. Yeah, a bit crazy, man. But how is it? Do you want me to give you the realness, bro?
Yeah.
The realness of the situation is this. Each of us are different.
Okay.
So, how old are you?
16.
Okay, then there you go. When I was here, I only met one 16-year-old guy called Chris.
Yeah.
He could come off a moped. So, I say in this world of ours, everyone's different. So, for instance, your journey from here forward will be different from mine. Now, I was saying it to, have you met Little Zeph?
Yeah. Well, I haven't talked to him, but I've seen him.
Well, Little Zeph, I know his brothers and that, innit? So, 13, and I came in and seen him last Monday. And things that I've experienced at 21, you haven't experienced yet.
Yeah.
So, I'd say things that kind of had my mind a bit boggled probably will be different from yours.
Okay.
So that's number 1. Number 2, I'd say being a para to a tetra is a big difference.
Yeah.
So there are going to be things that you're going to experience that I didn't experience. Okay. You get what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So I always tell people my story from here is that when I came here at 21 and I was on the wing, the ward, and it was like I was the best off, bro. For my ward, for my accident, I was the best off. Even though I didn't think it, even though I was toying with the whole thing, like, yo, I'm gonna share, like, what's gonna happen? Because that's what you're gonna be thinking, bro. You're gonna be thinking, you're 16, so you're gonna be thinking, where do I go from here? How am I gonna live?
He's got a really good ethos in life, haven't you? You're going to go to uni.
Yeah,
That's good, bro.
Finish your school.
You know what? You know what it is. I say to anyone, because the kind of life that I lived at the time, I just kind of went back to being the way I was, just me in a wheelchair, but still on the same kind of stuff. Because I didn't know anything else. So I was explaining to someone this week that I didn't really have a disabled community. I just went back to my family, my boys. We're all rolling together. I'm in a chair. We're all out. We're all partying. We're doing what we're doing, and that's what it is. But I feel like I said to Zeph the other day, you're gonna feel times that you don't fit in, bro. And I feel like you need at this age to find a purpose. Whether it's sports, whether it's uni, whether it's something, find some disabled friends that understand what we're going through, because I didn't have that. So when I'm lashing out and I'm arguing, my people don't understand that. I don't understand what I'm going through. I understand what you're going through because we're the same. So that's a key factor.
Yeah. What sports?
Well, is he going to be? What's his arm power
Probably
like?
going to be able to play for rugby. We had a look at tennis the other day.
Yeah. And I like the idea of some of the sports.
Yeah, you want to have a get on the water, don't you?
Yeah.
So,
So what's his arm strength like? Can he use himself power?
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
We're getting there.
You're getting there.
Wheelchairs.
Yeah, you can push. Yeah. I was going to say you are in a tank.
Yeah.
We're in a tank in a wheelchair, so we're an active user.
Well, you'll get. Obviously,
But
that's just
we're
for
early
here.
days. We're early days, aren't we?
Yeah.
And because you're here, these wheelchairs are different from home wheelchairs.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can get assisted push wheelchairs.
Yeah.
So
Is it one of those nice? You know, we were talking about the other day.
I'm like a quickie, like a
active
quickie.
user.
Yeah, I'm like a quickie.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how it is, bro. Like for me, it's a journey. And as I said to Zach the other day, a lot of us will be in here, and you'll be in a certain way. You'll be like, yeah, man, I've come to terms with it.
Yeah.
You're 16 was a long journey.
Yeah.
You at 16 years old, like, and you live to 60. It's a long journey. So you gotta understand what you want to do. I think fitness is a key.
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen a lot of people, even people that was with me here, that kind of turned to substance to kind of ease the pain. Because you get what I'm saying? Certain drugs to ease the pain. You got to know your body, learn to know it, know your threshold, know what you can and can't do, but still don't limit yourself. Because as I was saying to on the ward, if this goes, the body goes, bro. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
I'm saying. And I say to you, like I said to Zeph, like, it's a new world, so before I go, you can have my number. If you ever need to talk.
Okay,
If you ever need to talk, bro, because it is life changing. All these ladder management, bowel management, it's just a joke.
So much more to it than you think there would be. It's not just my legs not working or anything like that. It's like, there's all this other stuff to think about.
So how did you become this way?
I was just messing around with a mate, like wrestling sort of stuff, and it wasn't a rugby tackle, but it's the best way to describe it, and did that, and I landed on the top of my head and just broke my neck. Yeah, just at lunchtime at school.
So how did you feel?
I think generally I've been fairly positive. I think my parents have been really good, like really proactive and supportive. I think part of me is kind of like, obviously it's like bad, you know what I mean? Like, it's sad about it. There's another part, like when you hear people like you see one complete and stuff like that, makes me think like, oh, it could be so much worse.
I think that is one of the biggest things that we have to take from it.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, even as a paraplegic myself, I'm T12,
Okay.
So even as a paraplegic myself, I could still wash, I could still drive, I could still lift, I could still transfer. I was explaining on the ward that up to today, I don't have carers. Don't have carers.
Yeah.
I live alone. My mum don't live far, but I live alone. I drive alone. I go to gym alone. That's how I live my life. Because for me personally, you can become reliant. You can become, people can. It makes you lazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It can make you lazy. Obviously, again, it can be different because you're paralysed higher than me.
Yeah.
But still take from the fact that you can feed yourself.
Yeah.
Still take from the fact that as you get more stronger and more understanding, you can wash yourself and more time when you're 18 you can drive.
Yeah.
So don't think that it's the end of the road. It's just finding out ways to adapt. You get me?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Because a step now is a mountain to us.
Yeah.
That's what we said, isn't it? It's most things you can do, you just have to perhaps organise it a bit better.
You
Takes a bit more planning.
You know what it is? You know, planning. You know, one thing you'll learn about being a tetraplegic or a paraplegic, or no, I can't really speak for quadriplegics on it or whatever. But patience. Patience is a huge thing, brother. You're gonna have some days where you're probably out and about and your pumping breaks, or your bowel moves, and you're just there, bro, and you're probably in a public place and, excuse my French, you're shitting in shit, or you're just chilling there, as you said, wearing light green, and then you look down and you've got a puddle, and you're just thinking, what the hell, man? But patience, bro.
Okay. Yeah.
Patience is key. Getting past certain things is the key, bro. And that's why I said, like, when I was here with these lot, like when I came here, for what I come for, there was no one like it, bro. And I was speaking to Kate earlier, right? No, I didn't used to talk to no one, bro. I used to be so anti. Don't want, nurses can't touch me. Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Like, Kate would come to my room, we were doing physio, get off me, don't touch me. Don't touch my feet. And pull them off. But for me, when I was driving here doing my vlog, I was saying to my cameraman that without here, there's not going to be no you, there's no me. Because this journey here and on that ward, this is what makes us us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it gives us our independence and a will to live, bro, because as I said, like, when I got shot, I had a girlfriend, I lived with my girlfriend, you know, I got up that morning, left my girlfriend, and so many things can come in your head, bro. You're 16, so it's deeper than it was for me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying to you? At least there's certain things at 21, kind of knew, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it's after because sometimes you get like catch yourself sort of like thinking about it, like what happened and maybe things are different or what if, and you just have to doesn't help, it just makes you feel bad. So
you're gonna listen, bro. You're gonna have days when you argue with your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
You're gonna lash out.
Yeah.
They have to understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying to you? I'm not saying it's right, but what we're going through as a journey, a lot of people won't understand, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying to you? And obviously it takes time, and that's why I use to anyone in my situation or anyone I speak to, coming to terms with it and understanding the situation. You can say how you're positive now it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But like I said to little Zephyr the other day, you've got to think that you're going to be probably like this at 25, at 35, at 45, at 55, and that's the understanding that this might be used the rest of my life. So, like, think about, as she said, what your purpose is, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and just smash it, bro. Just smash it. Don't let no one tell you. No, and listen, when I came to Birmingham, like, these are my boys here, you know my philosophy. That's Kate, like, I said I'm gonna be the flyest, best dressed, sexiest wheelchair brother to come to in Birmingham. I'm a liar, lads. Tell him. telling you, that was my philosophy. Ask him. I say to him, listen, when I go home,
Yeah.
no one, I don't care what wheelchair person that comes past me, they're not on what I'm on. They won't dress like me, they won't be like me, they're not on what I'm on. And I think that's what kept me that way, sane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a bit egotistical, but at the same time, it's what gets me through it.
No, yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as I says, more production, keep positive, and I'm gonna leave my number, and anytime you want to message me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I'm on war zone. If you're a war zone, man, I'm on all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're on that. Say no more then.
Yeah, but yeah, you need to find a way.
No, I don't want this.
You'll find a way.
Don't.
We have been.
You've been
contact
working on it,
with
haven't you?
some,
Yeah.
Like charities, Morgan's charities, who does like OTs who sort of work out how you can video game basically.
Yeah, do gaming.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of stuff out there now, isn't there? So there's quite a lot of stuff.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
So,
But you know what it is, bro? Just even though you do, another thing you gotta understand is, even though these guys mean the best for you,
Yeah.
they're still working in the parameters of what they believe is your limitations.
Okay.
Only you know what the limitations are.
Yeah.
Only you do.
Yeah.
Only you do, bro. If you feel that you want to go and get a squidgy ball, and while you're in the underward, you're doing what you do, that's down to you.
Yeah.
In this room, at this time, for that hour, they've got to do what they've got to do. But outside of that, bro, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So say to your mom, if she can, get like a ball or something,
Yeah.
or two of them, get them down here for while you're here, fam. While you're just chilling, watching the TV at the night, just get doing what you're doing, bro. All right.
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Yo,
coming over.
Keep positive, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Well, after the tour of the grounds, we come to the creme de la creme, the final piece of the puzzle. Anyone that knows me knows that when I tell them about my journey, when I tell them, my process of rehabilitation, the gruelingness that I went through, I give it to the one and only person, my physio, Kate Bates. How you doing, gorgeous?
I'm good, Fiona.
You doing, Dave?
I'm alright.
So anyway, Kate, so when I started this, what's the word I'm going to use? Charity.
Journey. Oh, charity.
No, charity. And I sat down with my partners to be in it. One of the first things I highlighted is that I needed you to be a part of it. It was a must for me. There was no one in this place compares to.
You're trying to make me go soft.
Say no, babe. Anyway, nothing compares to you. So I felt like you had to be a part of it. So when I reached out to the powers that be, you were specifically who I asked for, because I want to touch on the basis of, firstly, of how long you've worked in, Robert Jones and the physio department, and what brought you to this world.
So, I worked at the Robert Jones Hunt on spinal injuries for 28 years now. So the first 7 of those I was a HCA on the ward, and then I moved into physio in 2001. What brought me to it, I wouldn't really know. I think it's something to do, when I was growing up, my mum worked in the college next door for people with physical and learning difficulties. So from a very young age, she used to bring her students home, so it would be people with spina bifida or Down syndrome. So disability was kind of like, it wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's kind of like you saw the person and not the disability. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to get into that line of work, just to like help people live their best life, really. So the disability wasn't what defined their life, it was just kind of like something we need to learn, deal with it, crack on.
Okay, so you've discovered your purpose, you decided, all right, this is the lane I'm going to take. In your journey to, from then till now, you've obviously seen a lot of different types of spinal cord injuries, mm-hmm. for whatever means or necessarily is, whether it's someone falling off a ladder, someone in a car crash, bike crash, etc. By myself, you know, because I know you fancied me back then, but by myself, do you feel that it's important for you to connect with those individuals even though it's a work job?
I think you can't do it without that connection. You've got to build a bond, because rehab is all about trust. You're going through an experience you've never been through before. We're asking you to put yourself on the line to work really hard, and if you're not trusting us to always be there and have your back, how can we expect you to give us everything in return?
Okay, I hear that.
And everybody is an individual, so I'll treat everybody different. So whatever you've been before, so whatever in your walk of life you've been before, not you, but you're going to be like, you haven't done anything to offend me until you've offended me. So you get a fresh slate with me. You kind of like, well, with all of us, you get a fresh slate. Rehab starts here. Whatever you've gone through before, we can just leave that and we'll just start afresh. And that's on a daily basis as well. So you might be really up one day and we'll have a bit of banter and we'll crack on. And then the next day you're like feeling down and we'll just get you back to that good place. People are up and down. Rehab's not a straight line.
So would you say your method and technique, of how you interact and engage, because in our point of view, when we connected, we gave each other pet names. I'll call you Dave, which is me giving you a masculine male name, and you kind of feminized me off with Fidel, like about Fiona, which is a bit feminine. So I think you're trying to. Now I don't know whether, for me as myself, how I look at the beauty of it is I feel like when I came here, and you understood why I was here and the type of background it came from. I don't know if that was your technique as an icebreaker or that it was your technique of just mugging me off. But I felt like it brought us closer together. And for myself, it going from the days of leave me alone to I can't wait to get to physio and get cracking the cake. So my question in all of that is, do you basically, when you meet your patient or who you've got to do your work with for that block of your program, do you sit down and analyse to yourself, I have to approach them this type of way or that type of way, or more sensitive or more aggressive?
Let's drop the aggressive. But I will go in kind of like seeing how you work best, and kind of like, we had a bit of banter, and if I was to say to you, right, I want you to do 30 lifts, and I'm going to be there deadpan face, you're going to be like, oh well, this is great. I'll get bored. But if we can get a bit of humour and a bit of banter in there, it makes it much more pleasant for both of us, because it's like, Fiona's next, brilliant, we're going to have a bit of a crack, this hour is going to be hard work, but we're going to enjoy it at the same time. But then if you're the type of person who just needs me to be quiet and just sensitive and a lot of cajoling, I will try my damnedest to be like that.
I don't recall that happening with
Well, not with you, but it's kind of like, you work for your strengths really. So if I want you to feel good at the end of the session and know you worked hard, I'll just keep pushing you. When you're like, no, I'm done, I'm like, no, you're not. We're going to have 5 more, and at the end of that session you're like, do you know what, I thought I was done, but I did 5 more. I'm getting there. Things are getting stronger.
Okay. So, as I said, for me, I think he was very instrumental in my journey. I think he was very, I think our bond, many probably have it with you because you've had so many patients, but for me, I think it's inseparable. I think the 20 years on, when I think about here, I think about you. Yeah, there's a few nurses that, I got along with, but I feel like this physio place is where the magic happened. I feel to myself that the reason why me and my colleagues wanted to start a charity focused on here and the spinal ward and the physio department is because I feel like, as you kind of said earlier on, it's slept on. I feel like there's a lot of so many awareness campaigns that are in the full focus of people's face, whether it can be cancer, whether it can be leukemia and things like that. And I feel like unless you go through this journey, nobody really knows. So my question to you now is do you believe the same? Do you believe that more could be done? Do you believe that equipment-wise, education-wise, more can be done for people who go through this journey and process?
I think any awareness that you can put out there, because people are going to see you or see anybody with a spinal injury and they're just going to see you sitting down and getting around in a wheelchair. They're not going to see the struggles you have to do to get up in the morning and to get yourself up and ready for the day. And they're not going to see that you're not chilling out sitting in a chair. You're actually, all the time you're sat in that chair, you're actually working to make sure you don't go anywhere else, you're not falling anywhere. So I think any awareness to make people aware of, you're not, of just the complexity of spinal cord injury. Like I've said, like many patients have said to me, the sitting down bit, the paralysis bit, is probably the easiest bit, because when you start talking about the internal functions of your body that aren't working, so if you're a higher level of injury, you can't even get an effective cough going out, so even if you're choking on a bit of water, you wouldn't necessarily be able to have an effective cough to clear your throat. So I think any awareness of making people more aware of the complexities of it all is beneficial, and making access better. You don't want to go into a sports shop and the trainers are up 3 steps and they're like, oh, you tell me what you want and I'll bring it down to you. You want to be able to, like everybody else, go up there, look at everything and make your own decision. You don't want to be telling some 17-year-old boy to keep bringing your trainers down. You want life to be accessible for you like it is for everybody else. So making that awareness out there and get companies to be thinking about how accessible their shops are, and life, and pubs and restaurants, and not putting loads of signs out so you can't actually get in.
I hear that. I do hear that. I've encountered a few mountains, which are really steps, but the mountain steps. Yeah. So we talked about the physical side. What's your perspective? So we know that, okay then, we come here, I've through on the camera, we've took a tour through Wreaking. When you come and it's straight one-to-one acute care, nurse to patient, to the early parts of Gladstone, to Bay when you're up and about and you're on the road.
Yeah,
you're on the road. Out. Yeah, you're on the road home. Couple more bays and you're on the way home. We know that you being in here doing physio is for the body, but one of the biggest things that I talk about with people is the mental side, and I feel like also being here, I feel like there's not a lot of people that really delve into that department. I feel like we focus a lot on rehabilitation, we focus a lot on maintaining life skills, management, bladder, bowel care, sexual functions, turning, pressure sores, all that type of education. Well, I feel to myself that nobody really sits and speaks about the effect of going forward, the effect of leaving here in an environment where living on a ward for 6 months, you create friends and a sense of unity and a sense of family. And another side to my charity that I want to set up for here is also to touch on the mental side, because I feel like, as I said, a lot of people don't get it.
So when you were in, 20 odd years ago, we had one psychologist on the ward, Chris, who's no longer with us. But now we have a team of 4. So psychology would go around most people now. In the early stage, sometimes they don't want to hear it because they see psychology as like, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need any support. But now, yeah, so things have got better in that way. We've got a team of 4 now, so they're always accessible. We see, so if the patient doesn't want to have any input, but the wife or the husband or a child is struggling, they can reach out for that as well.
Okay.
But I think definitely out in the community, more support for that psychological side is a massive benefit.
I was reading the actual statistics, what I read the other day was 70% of spinal injury patients when leaving feel they have no after or social care. It's a very big statistic.
It's massive.
You know, it's a very big statistic. Bar unless you take a trip into sports or some type of environment with other disabled people, I feel like you can be in a claustrophobic environment.
Yeah, because you're going to get most of that support. You're going to be able to talk openly about what you're going through with people in the same circumstances, your peers in the same circumstance. So yeah, lots of people go into sport to be in that group. But if you're not a sporty person, or you're older or unable to do sport, you're missing out on that connection. And I think most of the psychological issues come out after discharge. So you've been in here, you've been with all the people who are quite rightly treating you like you and not seeing any disability, and then you leave and you're in a group of people who don't know what to be saying to you or don't know how to help you, and you're like, oh, this is all a bit different. So it might be a few weeks, a few months, or even a few years after discharge. You know, people start having a bit of PTSD from their injury years after it actually happens. So yeah, having some psychological support out there, or just like groups or forums, just for people to like connect in and just go, I'm feeling like this. But other people to go, yeah, I've felt like that, and this is what I did to help me come out of that place.
So I know that we've been in COVID,
yeah,
and it's been a long few years. So with the 4 psychologists that you've got here, is there any like-minded people that came in? So for instance, in my time, it was a couple of old heads like Robin,
yeah,
that would come in and just see how everyone was. But is there anyone outside of the psychologist that can come and relate to people? Because, for instance, my example is that the people that are here are in that bubble.
yeah.
But having someone that's been in that position for 20 years or 10 years or who's now living outside of it, do you think it would be beneficial to have a group, an individual team of people that come and base on the wards and go around and have a conversation about what life is like outside?
Yeah, I mean, we have Aspire and SIA come in, and they'll, pre-COVID, they could go around and chat to people, or they would come up to the dining room where the pool table is and have a chat. During some of COVID, they could come in, but they couldn't go onto the ward, so it was only if patients came up to have a chat, and at the minute that's gone again. But I think the more people that come in, so when I started 28 years ago, we had a ward called the Nightingale Ward. So the beds would just be on one side of the ward, so you'd have old patients coming in for, like, you know, your routine bladder investigations or different things. So you'd have older patients mixing with newer patients, literally in the next bed. So when the day's calmed down and like 9, 10 o'clock at night and you're just chatting and chilling out, you just have those conversations. Whereas now, patients generally are only with patients who are in the same sort of time frame, the same sort of level of time frame of injury. So I think not having the older patients coming in who've got life experiences is a massive deficit at the minute. We just haven't got enough of them at the minute.
Okay, so my last and final question to you is, in your journey, you know, for instance, of beasting individuals like myself and other bystanders, you know, that just want to live and not want to go through the intricacies of what you got to give. If you was to sit in front of a panel, because I didn't want to have you on it, but you're going to be away.
Right.
What would you say to the people listening? What would you say to them regarding people that don't understand this world? Could you give me an insight to let them, what you would say? For instance, do you feel they should pay more attention? Do you think they should research it more? Do you become more understanding? What do you think?
I'd probably go with don't stare and ask a question. The last thing you need is to be doing something and at the corner of your eye you can see you've got somebody staring and going, what are they doing? I'd like, if you see somebody, just go and ask a question. Or, because it's much better, it's much better for somebody to come over to you and say, do you need a hand? Or rather than just be stood at the wing staring at you. And then it is just get informed really, just get informed about the complexities. If we're talking about spinal injuries, just become aware of the complexities of it and how it affects your whole body. It isn't just that you can't walk, it affects your whole body. And then just, you're nobody special, you're just a person. And not to be afraid, just come and chat to you like they would come and chat to you if you were stood up. So I think in physio especially, we just need to make you aware that you're you as well. And you're just still you, and you get lots of people, parents or grandparents or husbands and wives and that, I don't know if they're going to be treating me the same. I'm like, they just need to see that you're you, and what I'll also say to patients is if you're going into a group of people, that group of people are going to be getting their gauge of how the situation is off you. So if you go in all like wary and a bit stressed and a bit like, oh, this is a difficult situation, they'll pick up on those vibes. But if you go in confident and be, confident that you're you and you can deal with anything, they'll pick up on that as well and treat you like you, which is the way it should be.
Well, on that note, it's been interesting. We have our little chin wags.
We do.
But I just want to, I always tell you anyway, but, from a camera, I just want to let you know how much I love you. And I just want you to know that, as I said, you're very monumental in my journey, in my life. And even though I don't see you on a day-to-day or as much as we used to because of this COVID thing, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And just keep beasting there. But don't be giving anyone else no nicknames, because that's our thing.
That's our thing.
That's our thing. But yeah.
You'll always be my Fiona.
But yeah. Well, thanks for my interview.
One side, get my blessings and man count them, me live high. And when my wings them broken, me still fly. If yet no move the mountain, me still try. And I see some man chosen. Me never forget the code them me live by. My lesson at the road, them not give fly. Keep my eyes them open. Still fly when my wings them broken. Yeah.